All right, so today we're doing a deep dive, you ready? Into all things sage.
Oh, I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
Sage is
And
fascinating.
we've got a great source to guide us. The
Yeah.
healing powers of sage, nature's timeless remedy.
What a title.
Yeah.
It really draws you in.
And I think, a lot of people might think of sage and be like, oh, yeah, that's the stuff you put on, chicken and butternut squash.
Right.
But there was so much more to it. So
Absolutely.
much history and like these potential health benefits we're going to dig into.
It's remarkable how such a seemingly simple herb has had such a profound impact
Yeah.
across cultures and history. I mean, just think about it. Even the name Salvia, which is the genus name for sage,
Okay.
it comes from the Latin salvere, and that means to be well or to heal,
Wow. So it's like right there in the name.
right from the start.
It's telling you what it's all about.
It's a powerful connection.
So where do we even begin with that? Like when we're talking about history, where do we start with sage?
Well, we could go all the way back to ancient Egypt.
Really?
Oh, yeah, sage was used for all sorts of things, but one of the most interesting uses was for fertility.
Fertility?
Yes.
Like to help people have babies?
Exactly. The Egyptians believed that sage had these potent properties that could enhance fertility.
Is there anything that explains like how they used it?
Well, the exact methods are a little unclear, but we know they held sage in very high regard, and it was probably incorporated into rituals and, practices surrounding conception and childbirth.
That's fascinating.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible to think that, thousands of years ago, people were already recognizing the power of this plant.
Absolutely. And if we fast forward a bit, the Greeks and Romans, they also recognized sage's value.
Oh, wow. So this wasn't just like an Egyptian thing.
No, not at all.
This was like widespread.
Sage was highly prized for its medicinal properties.
So they weren't just like, oh, this tastes good with winter. They were like,
No, no, no.
we need this.
They specifically sought it out for its healing properties.
That's so interesting. And it's like, speaking of, different cultures recognizing the power of sage, we can't forget about indigenous cultures and their use of white sage,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in North America.
That's right. White sage, or Salvia apiana, it plays a central role in smudging ceremonies.
I think I've heard of smudging, but I'm not really sure I understand what it is. Can you explain it a little bit?
Of course, so smudging is a practice of burning bundles of dried white sage,
Okay.
and it's done to clear negative energy.
So is it like to just make things smell good, or is there like a deeper meaning behind it?
It's definitely more than just a pleasant scent.
Okay.
It's about purifying a space, a person, or even an object.
Huh?
It's about creating a sense of balance and harmony.
So it's almost like a spiritual cleansing kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
It's like hitting the reset button.
I can see how that would be like really powerful.
It is a very powerful ritual.
Especially if you're going through a tough time or you just want to like start fresh.
Yep.
It's amazing to me how sage has like this whole other dimension beyond just being a culinary herb.
Right.
It's got this spiritual and cultural significance as well.
It really speaks to how deeply connected we are to the natural world.
Yeah.
And how plants like sage can have these profound effects on us.
And, speaking of effects on us, I think it's time we dig into some of the science behind sage's health benefits,
I'm ready for that.
because we've heard a lot about its potential, but I'm curious, like, what does modern science tell us?
Well, one of the things that's really exciting about sage is that it's an incredibly potent antioxidant.
Oh, antioxidants. I've heard that word a lot, but I'm not really sure I understand what they actually do.
So antioxidants, they're like these tiny little warriors in your body,
Okay.
and they're constantly fighting off these things called free radicals.
Free radical.
Which are basically unstable molecules that can damage your cells.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, they're not good.
So antioxidants are like the good guys protecting us from the bad guys.
Exactly. They're like a shield for your cells.
Cool.
And sage happens to be loaded with these powerful antioxidants.
Like what kind of antioxidants?
Well, two of the most prominent ones in sage are rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid.
Okay, big words.
But they're the ones doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to protecting your cells.
So by eating sage or using sage, we're giving our body like a boost of these protective antioxidants.
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing.
And one of the easiest ways to get those antioxidants is by drinking sage tea.
Wait, sage tea?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it's delicious.
Really?
And it's such a simple way to enjoy all those amazing benefits.
Okay, I'm going to have to try that.
You should.
And speaking of benefits, I've heard that sage is also good for the brain.
It is. In fact, sage is often called the thinker's herb.
The thinker's herb.
Because research suggests that compounds in sage might actually enhance memory and improve attention.
Really?
And some studies even suggest it might have a positive impact on mood.
Wow, so it's not just like remembering where you put your keys. We're talking about like actual cognitive function.
Yes, potentially improving your ability to focus and think clearly.
That's incredible.
And there's even some research suggesting that sage might protect the brain from neurodegenerative diseases.
Wait, like Alzheimer's and stuff like that?
Yes.
Wow, how does that work?
Well, it seems that sage might help protect acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that's essential for learning and memory.
Okay, I'm following.
As we age, our acetylcholine levels naturally decline,
Okay,
and this decline is even more rapid in conditions like Alzheimer's,
right.
but sage may actually help to slow down that
So
process.
it's like sage is a brain protector.
It's showing some very promising potential in that area.
It's like a brain-boosting powerhouse.
It certainly seems that way.
That's incredible. We're just scratching the surface here.
Oh, we're just getting started.
Because I know sage also has a reputation for being good for sore throats and colds.
Right.
Like, I remember my grandmother used to make me gargle with something when I had sore throat.
Yeah.
I think it's salt water and something else.
Could have been sage.
Maybe that was it.
It very likely what sage has natural antibacterial and antiviral properties.
Oh, wow.
So it makes sense that it's been used as a traditional remedy for those sorts of ailments for centuries.
It's amazing how these traditional remedies that people have been using for ages are now being backed up by science.
It really is.
It's like they knew what they were doing all along.
They may not have had the scientific tools that we have today,
Yeah.
but they had observation and experience.
Right.
And that led them to a deep understanding of nature's healing power.
That's really cool. And I feel like we've only just begun to explore the amazing world of sage.
We've covered fertility, cognitive function, and sore throats, but
Yeah.
there's so much more to discover.
Are there any other areas where sage shines?
Oh, absolutely. Sage also has these phytoestrogenic properties.
Phytoestrogenic.
Yes, which means it can affect hormone balance.
Hormone balance. That sounds pretty important.
It is, and especially for women who are experiencing menopausal symptoms.
It's like hot flashes and night sweats.
Exactly.
Okay.
So sage's phytoestrogens, they can mimic the effects of estrogen in the body,
Interesting.
which can potentially help alleviate those symptoms.
Wow. So drinking sage tea could actually be a natural way to help manage menopause.
That's what some of the research suggests.
That's fascinating. And, we've talked about sage being good for like our brains and our hormones, but doesn't it also have benefits for oral health?
It does.
Why is that?
Well, remember those antibacterial properties we talked about?
Uh-huh.
They also come in handy for fighting the bacteria that cause plaque cavities and bad breath.
Oh, so that's why you see sage in some natural toothpaste and mouthwashes.
Exactly. It's like nature's little toothbrush.
I love that.
And if you're feeling adventurous, you can even make your own sage mouthwash at home.
Really?
Yeah, just by rinsing with some cooled sage tea.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Right.
It's like a natural alternative to all those harsh chemical-laden mouthwashes.
Absolutely. And speaking of natural alternatives, sage is also known to help with digestion.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How does it do that?
Well, sage has soothing and anti-inflammatory properties,
Uh-huh.
so it can help calm the digestive tract,
Interesting.
which can help relieve indigestion, bloating, and gas.
So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable after, a big meal,
Yeah,
a cup of sage tea might do the trick.
it's definitely a gentle and effective option.
That's amazing. And I feel like we could keep going with this list of sage's benefits forever.
It probably could.
It's like this magic potion.
It might not be magic, but it is pretty remarkable.
It really shows the power of nature to provide us with solutions for all sorts of issues.
Absolutely.
We really can find so much in the natural world to help us thrive and feel our best.
That's the beauty of it.
It's really amazing. Like, we started with this common kitchen herb,
Right.
and now we're discovering all these potential benefits for our brains and our bodies and even our hormones.
It really is remarkable.
It makes you realize, like, there's so much more to learn from, both ancient wisdom and modern science.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of ancient wisdom,
Yeah.
we haven't even fully explored sage's spiritual and energetic uses yet.
Oh, right, smudging.
Yes,
We touched on that earlier.
we did.
But I think it would be great to dive a little deeper into that because I know a lot of people are curious about smudging.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating practice.
Yeah, and what is it exactly?
So smudging, it's a ritual that's been practiced for centuries by indigenous cultures,
Okay,
primarily in North America.
okay.
And it involves burning dried bundles of white sage.
So is it just to, like, make a room smell nice, or is there a deeper meaning behind it?
It's definitely more than just making things smell good.
Okay.
The smoke from the burning sage, it's believed to carry away negative energy.
Huh.
It's about purification, renewal, creating a sense of balance and harmony.
So it's almost like a spiritual cleansing, kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's about hitting the reset button, creating a fresh start.
Wow. I could see how that could be really powerful.
It's a very powerful ritual.
Especially if you're going through, a challenging time or you just want to set a positive intention.
Absolutely. And the practice itself is quite simple. You just light the tip of the dried sage bundle.
Okay.
You let it smolder.
Uh-huh.
And then you gently waft the smoke around the space or the person.
Interesting.
And you really want to focus on your intention while you're doing it.
So it sounds like it's almost like a meditative practice in a way.
It is. It can be very grounding and meditative.
It's important to remember, though, like, we're talking about a practice that's rooted in indigenous traditions.
Absolutely. We need to approach this with respect and mindfulness.
Right, we don't want to just appropriate something without understanding its cultural significance.
Exactly. It's about honoring the origins of the practice.
Yeah, and that also brings up the issue of ethical sourcing,
Right?
because I know there's been a lot of concern about overharvesting of white sage.
There has, and it's really important to do your research and make sure that any white sage you use is ethically sourced.
So you're not contributing to any harm.
Exactly. We want to enjoy the benefits of sage without exploiting the environment or disrespecting cultural traditions.
Are there any alternatives for people who want to incorporate smudging, but they're concerned about those ethical issues?
There are
That's
actually garden sage or Salvia officinalis that can also be used for smudging.
Oh, interesting.
So that's a more readily available option.
Okay, so there are options for people
Right.
who want to, participate in this practice, but do it in a way that's responsible.
Exactly.
I think that's really important to emphasize.
It is. And beyond smudging, sage is also widely used in aromatherapy.
Aromatherapy.
I love aromatherapy.
Phew, it's wonderful.
I love diffusing essential oils at home.
It's so therapeutic.
What about sage? Like, what does sage bring to the table in terms of aromatherapy?
Well, sage essential oil is known for its grounding and calming aroma.
It's often used to reduce anxiety, promote relaxation, and even uplift mood.
So if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, a little bit of sage essential oil might do the trick.
It can definitely help create a more peaceful and balanced atmosphere.
I love that it's like this natural way to just kind of de-stress and unwind.
It is. And, when you think about it, it's kind of amazing. We've gone from ancient Egyptian fertility rituals to modern-day aromatherapy.
Right.
And sage has been there all along.
It's like this thread connecting us through time.
Exactly.
It's incredible, and we're still discovering new things about this amazing plant.
Oh, absolutely. There's always more to learn.
So I guess the question now of how can we incorporate more sage into our daily lives?
That's a great question. And I think the beauty of sage is that there are so many entry points.
Like, where do we even begin?
Well, you could start with its culinary uses.
Oh, right. It's not just an aromatherapy oil or a smudging herb.
No, it's a delicious culinary herb.
It is.
Fresh sage adds a wonderful savory note to so many dishes.
Like, what kind of dishes?
Oh, it pairs beautifully with roasted vegetable,
Okay.
especially root vegetables like butternut squash potatoes, things like that.
Well, butternut squash and sage, that's one of my favorites.
It's a classic combination.
And it's so good in soups and stews.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about sage tea.
Oh, yes, sage tea.
We talked about the health benefits.
Uh-huh.
But it's also just a really enjoyable beverage.
It is. It's so soothing and aromatic.
I'm definitely going to have to try that.
You should. And if you're looking for something a little more luxurious, you could try adding some fresh sage leaves or sage essential oil to your bath.
Oh, a sage-infused bath.
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
It's incredibly relaxing, and the sage can help soothe sore muscles.
Oh, I love that.
And sage can even be beneficial for your skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has astringent and anti-inflammatory properties,
Huh.
so it can help balance oil production, reduce redness, and even fight breakouts.
So it's like a natural toner.
Exactly.
Wow, there are so many ways to use sage.
There really are.
It's like a natural beauty product and a health tonic all in one.
It's a true gift from nature.
It makes you appreciate the power of plants
It does.
to help us feel our best.
And speaking of feeling our best,
Yeah.
we should probably talk about some safety considerations with sage as well.
Oh, right, because it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Well, sage is generally safe for most people to consume.
Okay.
But there are a few things to keep in mind.
Okay, let's talk about those.
So first and foremost, moderation is key.
Okay.
Excessive consumption of sage, especially in tea form, can be toxic.
So don't go overboard on the sage tea.
Exactly.
Even if it's delicious.
Even if it is, and it's important to note that if you're pregnant or breastfeeding,
Yeah.
it's always best to consult with your doctor before using sage medicinally.
That's just good advice in general.
It is better to err on the side of caution.
Yeah, and we already touched on the ethical sourcing of white sage.
We did.
But I think it's worth reiterating that, sustainability should always be a priority.
Yeah.
When we're working with natural resources.
We want to enjoy the benefits of these plants without harming the environment.
Right. And remember, if you're looking for a more sustainable alternative, garden sage is a great option.
It is, and it's readily available.
So there's really no excuse not to enjoy all the amazing benefits of sage
Exactly.
while also being mindful and responsible.
Well said.
Wow, it's like we've uncovered this whole secret world inside this little herb.
I know, right?
Who knew sage could be so complex?
It just goes to show you there's always more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Even with something as familiar as sage.
I love that perspective. It's like a reminder to always stay curious
Exactly.
and to approach things with a sense of wonder.
And this deep dive for me,
Yeah.
It's really deepened my appreciation for ancient
Me
traditions
too.
and for the power of nature
Yeah.
to heal and nourish us.
I feel like I've learned so much about sage,
Me too.
from its history
Uh-huh.
to the science behind it
Yeah.
to its spiritual uses.
It's been an incredible journey.
It has, but it's one thing to learn about all these benefits,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually put them into practice.
Absolutely.
So like for someone listening who's thinking, okay, this is all great,
Yeah.
but where do I start?
That's a great question. And I think with sage, the
Yeah.
beauty of it is that there are so many entry points.
Okay.
You can really tailor it to your own interests.
So it's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Not at all.
Okay.
Maybe you're drawn to the culinary aspect.
Yeah.
And you want to experiment with fresh sage in your cooking.
Right. Or maybe you're more interested in the potential health benefits.
Uh-huh.
And you want to try drinking sage tea.
Exactly. Or perhaps you're curious about the spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
You want to explore smudging with white sage.
So many possibilities.
There really are.
It's about finding what resonates with you
Absolutely.
and experimenting.
Exactly. Be open-minded and see what works for you.
I love that. And, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
it's really all about connecting with nature
it is.
and appreciating the incredible gifts that plants like sage have to offer.
Well said.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've gone from ancient history to modern science.
Uh-huh.
We've explored the spiritual and the practical.
It's been quite the journey.
It has, and I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to learn more about sage.
Me too. And to maybe even incorporate it into their own lives.
I'd love to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
As you go about your day, take a moment to notice the plants around you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a sage plant growing nearby,
Yeah,
just waiting to share its wisdom and its benefits with you.
that's beautiful.
So keep your eyes open and your mind curious.
And until next time, happy exploring.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of sage.
It's been a pleasure.